Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today we're going to be reviewing the premiere episode of Candy on Hulu.
This really caught our eye because it's centered around a murder case. And you know about murder cases, it always brings in the audiences.
So yes, this show is based on a true story. It's a true crime case about Candy Montgomery in the early 1980s, and it follows the storyline of what happened to her and the events surrounding her and her friend and her murder. So it's definitely really intriguing, like Noelle said. And Jessica Biel, lately the things I've seen her, she's been really solid, and I loved her in season 1 of The Sinner, and that's kind of what drew me into this show in particular.
Yeah, so far the first episode's a little slow, but it's like that suspension of slowness. So you're building up to something that's eventually going to happen, a murder. But honestly, the set designs in this TV show are so good. It really brings you back to those early 80s, late 70s vibes.
Yeah, I'll definitely say that Hulu definitely has a large budget. They're able to put a lot of money in the production of the show, and it does look really good. It's very immersive. It does look like the early 1980s, the late 70s. The vehicles, the costuming, particularly Jessica Biel's costuming, you kind of forget it's Jessica Biel. It seems to be like a theme with a lot of these higher budget shows that streaming services have been putting out, as you take these kind of higher like A-list or B-list actors, actresses, and you kind of just put them behind costuming and let them really like do their thing. And she's definitely really solid so far in the first episode.
A lot of interesting camera angles in this first episode. Like there's a lot of close-up shots of like their mouths or their eyes or their face, and then like far away angles like that focuses in the house. So it's very interesting the type of styling they're doing for this show.
Yeah, it's definitely filmed to build suspense. It almost has a horror quality to it, the way that it's filmed. I will say, like Noelle said, at least the first episode, it's quite a slow burn. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, I think the structure of the first episode didn't necessarily work, in my opinion, because as you see, if you do have the few spoilers here, it's pretty much right off the bat, you know what's going to happen in the show. But you see she goes and visits her best friend, and her best friend Betty, and you pretty much know that she killed her. She's covered in blood. She comes back home. Throughout the rest of the episode, she's really nervous. She's obviously panicking about what she's done. And then the last, 20 minutes or so of the episode is, her husband trying to find out what happened to her, to Betty. And you already know what happened as the audience. So all this build up and them trying to get in the house and him calling and all of it kind of like building and building, building. I think it falls a little short having already known what happened. Like they could have left it out and maybe had the audience guessing, oh, what happened to her? Is she okay? Why is everything...
It is interesting though, because like this first episode, a murder happened. You're calling, you have to stay by the landline. Like you don't have a cell phone. Like it's not as easily accessible to like get a hold of somebody. You couldn't just dial 911 so easily. So I kind of like that. It really like sets like the whole like story in motion.
No, I understand why they did it, but I guess as an audience, I would have maybe liked them to drag that out maybe a little bit more the second episode. Maybe you don't know what happened, but I feel like they kind of spoon feed it to you. And looking up the case, I had to look it up. I wanted to see what was going to happen. The case is not really, in my opinion, is not super interesting or twisting and turning. Maybe we'll see what happens with the show, but it's really short. If you look it up, it's pretty straightforward, everything that happened. But, I'll be interested to see how they play it off. Obviously, the acting seems like it's going to be really good. Mm-hmm. The set design, just the overall production, like Noelle had said, with the way they shoot the show looks good. I just don't know if the story merits a 5-episode series. I feel like it could even be a movie. So I'll be interested to see how, with the slow burn of the first episode, I'm hoping it isn't 5 episodes of very slow burn, which that might be a little rough to watch.
I know how you say it's a very not thrilling, I guess, story, but it is interesting because like she's just like a suburban mom who obviously murders another mom in this very quiet like church driven town. So I feel like maybe that's why they decided to do this TV
That's
show.
True. I feel like maybe the scandal of it was something that'd be more interesting. Mm-hmm. Obviously, as I looked into it, I know kind of more what happens along the story. If you don't know, I won't spoil it or anything like that. But maybe it will be better than I expected it to be. But I think the first episode, good production, really good acting, great costuming. I think everything about it as an actual filmmaking aspect of it's pretty good. I just don't know if this story being adapted for a 5-part miniseries will work out, but maybe they'll prove me wrong. Maybe it'll be a lot better and it'll really pick up and I'll be really enthralled with it.
So this sums up our review of the first episode, Candy on Hulu. Let me know if you'll be checking out this series below. Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, and also, who do you agree with? Do you think that it is enthralling and suspenseful and you think it's really going places? Or are you maybe in my camp where think it's a little slow, and then maybe it's not gonna, pan out to be that exciting of a show. But leave those comments down below. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.
Bye.